So, one of the maddest weekends for a while in professional wrestling has just come to an end, and I tell you, you can pick any of these shows, and you're going to have the best time. But I have indeed just watched Double or Nothing 2025, courtesy of All Elite Wrestling. I just thought it was terrific and fantastic, and now I will worry. No, I'm kidding, I won't really. But people always get mad. If you ever say, even after Saturday Night's Main Event, I had people messaging me going, I can't believe you liked that show. Like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to like it. And now that I liked an AEW show, people will be like, I can't believe you liked that, and I have to apologize again. It's very hard being a content creator in 2025. You always have to watch where you do step. But do I think this is the best? The question instantly it comes up. I'm not going to answer it because comparison is the thief of joy. But I thought Double or Nothing 2025 was pretty much as spot on as you could hope a wrestling show to be. Really sort of boasted. I want to say 3 matches, but I don't want to forget anything. Anarchy in the Arena is what we're going to concentrate on today because I think that may have been perfect. The main event could be the best main event AEW's ever done, and that Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter match, in terms of not only just 2 people having an incredible match, but also building on this idea that the Owen Hart Cup is important. I mean, my goodness, have we done a terrific job. But yes, Anarchy in the Arena is, I think, my favorite concept right now. A lot of that is going to be recency bias. A lot of that is going to be hyperbole. But when I was done watching this, it must have been, 30 minutes? Again, I don't time matches. You can. I think it's a bit weird. Some people only went 27 minutes. Oh, okay. But in terms of taking professional wrestling and then goofy wrestling and serious wrestling and throwing them into one big pot, I'm not entirely sure how you could do this any better because it made me laugh out loud, it made me squirm. Some bits were too far for me, and then some bits were my perfect level of comedy. Like, I've spoken about this everywhere, so forgive me if you do follow me on other services or social media. But Claudio Castagnoli, big swinging Swerve Strickland into one speaker, which stopped the music playing, is my favorite thing that could have ever happened in the history of sports entertainment. It doesn't make any sense. Why would one speaker be playing for the entire arena? But that is the kind of madness that I love in my professional wrestling. They all know what they're doing. This wasn't an oversight, as some mad person messaged me. Even if it was a plot hole, who cares? Funny is funny. But this music gimmick, novelty, theme, whatever you want to call it, that we have done with Anarchy Arena now, has become as important as the action and all the other stuff by itself. It's so, so good. And it starts off here with, I still don't know how to describe it. Somebody let me know in the comments how to describe it. And make sure you subscribe when you're down there too. But like a pip, cheerio, Gettysburg Address music. Like the what do you call it? The Civil War or whatever. Because the Young Bucks came out dressed as if they were the forefathers because they've created professional wrestling, which is such a good gimmick. It really makes me laugh. That then gets cut off by I'm So Excited, which of course AEW knew what they were doing. Because when they changed the Dynamite theme to that, some people just erupted. I love stuff like that. It's like proper niche nerd jokes. And then of course, eventually, this is the counterpoint to that, or the antithesis, I should say, you get to Drowning Pools, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, which back in 2002, maybe 2005, I can't remember, whenever it was just the song for professional wrestling. It was used all the time, arguably overused by WWE and ECW. But to bring it back now, just the best, absolutely the best. Made me so happy, right? It made me so damn happy in the way that it ended. And then even the staple spot, right? I said this on Ups and Downs too. You can check it over. It's been up now for a while. So you can go over to What Culture Wrestling and make sure you see my sort of proper beat-by-beat review. But when Swerve Strickland was doing the stapling gun bit, I'm not a massive fan of staple guns in wrestling. The timing and what everybody else was doing to get stapled made me laugh again. I was like, well, that is a work of art in order to do that. And then, of course, it ends with Marina Shafir staple gunning Swerve Strickland's tongue. I've never said that sentence before. I don't think many people have either. Swerve Strickland is a loon, right? He's an absolute loon, but my gosh, does he come across as the coolest, biggest superstar of all time. He jumped off a forklift. Do not tell me that forklift wasn't a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to Judy Bagwell. It absolutely was. And then people were jumping off, what do you call it, the entranceways, through tables. We had that beer bottle smash by Willow, so Marina Shafir then got revenge by putting a lock in Willow Nightingale's ear. You had that amazing spot when Willow then speared everyone, and Kenny Omega gave snapdragons to everybody, including Marina, which sent everybody crazy. The one winged angel through a table that exploded, which is also a damn callback to, when was it, Revolution 2021? Whenever the barbed wire exploding deathmatch was between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Of course that was, look, we fixed it, right? And then so much thumbtack, just disgustingness that makes you feel oogly boogly in your tootsie toes. And Swerve Strickland switching his sneakers for the ones that Prince Nana gave him because they had thumbtacks in it, and then giving a swerve stomp to Nick Jackson to get the 1, 2, 3. history, and really we now need to reset and go through it all again. It's like a movie. It's like Dodgeball. When you watch it twice, you realize that it's layered. You even have flipping Shibata wrapping barbed wire around his leg and kicking people in the face. So many arrestable offences during this, and that's not even talking about the stuff that Powerhouse Hobbs did, and Hook returning and maybe falling out with the Ops because he helped him out here, but also looked at Joe like, I can't believe you replaced me. Gabriel Kidd was helping out, then Mark Briscoe was back with the ambulance, and then the Death Riders got locked in the flipping local medical facility wagon, which allowed the finish to occur. Like, that's how the babyfaces won. They were smart, and they won up the bad guys. I just can't believe how fun it was. And I never watch wrestling thinking it's AEW or WWE. I just sit down and watch it. And some people don't believe that, but I'm sorry, it is true. And when I walked away, I just was like, this is why I fell in love with this madness to begin with. Like, it just is. I never want anything to make sense, but then I want other things to be super serious, and I want to wince, and I want to like hide behind the sofa, but then I want to be laughing and be excited, and my adrenaline go through the roof. It was just so well executed, and it was straight away because you had the dumb entrance and then that weird flute music playing for a good 5 minutes, and then Kenny Omega shouting about what is this damn stuff. It's just relatable's not the right word, but I think because I'm a bit of a geek, I like the idea of them all sitting backstage and going, listen, we've got all these fantastic ideas. So just props and just a big bravo. I couldn't have improved on it, right? For where I am in my life right now and all the stuff that had come before and all the stuff that was going to come afterwards, you couldn't have done a better job. And if you are on the fence with your professional wrestling and you don't have a tribalistic attitude, and maybe you've been waiting something just to whet your appetite about All Elite Wrestling, it doesn't mean you're going to like it, but I would recommend just going to check it out and see what it does, because I'm going to watch it again later, and just in case there's something I didn't miss, because I'm very lucky to do what I do. There's a lot of this, right, when you're making notes, and then sometimes someone says to you, didn't mention this, because it's like a blink and you miss it moment, and I blinked and I missed it because I was looking down at my laptop. But it was excellent. It was brilliant. It was 5 stars, 6.25 stars in the Tokyo Dome, golden ups and whatever stupid words we can apply to this. And I would love to hear it from you if it wasn't your cup of tea, but like a genuine cup of tea. Not that people that message me going, well, I'm not even watching it because it's AEW mud show. Like, we can't have a proper conversation with that at all, but I don't care. I thought it was terrific. I thought it was tremendous. Some of the most fun I've had in 2025 watching wrestling, and I think maybe I needed that, which isn't meant to be a knock on anybody else, but I don't know, I feel a lot more excited about sports entertainment now following that, and of course the main event is going to be a huge reason for that too, and this was, again, another reason why wrestling can be so great, because it's meant to be a variety show. Not only did you have this wonderful idea of I don't know who's going to win, and ultimately AEW could pick either guy, and it's not going to be a problem, but you have a very definitive winner and a very definitive loser, and now they can tell that tale. I know I go on about this in all my videos. If you're really a big fan of me, which I appreciate, even you have to be like, Simon, would you get a new thing to talk about? But I don't mind distractions, and I don't mind shenanigans, and I don't mind nonsense. But you never want to get away from the idea that it's always competition, right? And that's what we did here. Will Ospreay doesn't feel like he's fallen down the food chain or down the ladder because he lost. Hangman certainly feels like he's the ultimate boss now because he won. But now I'm intrigued to see what we do with Ospreay. How does he make his way back? Does he help Hangman train to take on the Dastardly Death Riders? What is to do to Hangman's character? Is he over the Swerve Strickland stuff now? There's so many little things you can talk about, and if Ospreay had won, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with Hangman won. I think I was leaning towards Will, just based on a feeling that I had. But then Adam winning it just made me go, Adam, like I was friend, but him winning it just made me go, oh, well, I didn't see that coming. And then the little things they did too, the V-trigger, the one-winged angel attempt, the big pressure driver, or the JML, whatever we're calling it, which would have won. But Will Ospreay grabbed the rope at the last second. And also, on a technical level, the reversals, the maneuvers, the moves, the timing, the footwork. I mean, it was impeccable. And I think sometimes we forget to talk about Hangman Adam Page in this bracket. And that's not me not saying Will Ospreay isn't brilliant, but we all know that Will Ospreay is brilliant. And the wrestling that Will Ospreay does, nobody even comes close to him. But Hangman is equally as good as in his own way. Like, he never has a bad match. He certainly has, what do people call it, like last boss energy? The second time I've used last, but you know what I'm talking about. Main character energy, that's what I'm thinking of. And he's such an interesting pro wrestler because he's one of the few dudes that goes out there. I guess it's because he does keep his private life private. I just think this is where he exists. I don't think he has a real life. He just exists within Dynamite, Collision, and pay-per-views. But that really does add to his mystique, I suppose. But some people will go, it didn't sell, and it's blah, blah, blah. I couldn't disagree more. This felt as close to a real wrestling match as you could hope to find. Two people desperately wanting to win, understanding that getting a victory could change their careers, that they could become the world champion, they'd become the star of AEW, the face of All Elite Wrestling. And wrestling like that too. There's a real intensity to it, and a real nastiness. Like at one point, Hangman grabbed Will Ospreay's head and he's like, we got to stop doing that kind of stuff. We're trying to reform as an individual. And then he just threw him into a barricade. I was like, well, you're not that much of a change, man. But it's those small things that I'm going to sound like a right idiot here. It makes the matches come alive because, again, you can take more into it because it's giving you more to dive into. So, I mean, it was excellent. Like, it really, really was good. Again, it was a long match, but it zoomed by. Like, I was totally locked in. It's like some kind of movie you watch that sort of surprises you with a twist. You know, what's going to happen now? And throughout all the near falls and the Stormbreakers and the Dead Eyes and whatever flab else they hit, I was like, well, that could win, or this could win, or maybe that's going to win. I was just all over the place. And I think there was less of that in Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter, just because if I have All In, and I've decided All In is my WrestleMania, and that's the show I want to get 50,000 people plus to, I put on Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. Anyone that is going so obvious it's boring, every company has done that since day dot, since the day pro wrestling was born. You're like, what's my main show? Who are my two biggest stars? Let's make sure they converge at the right time. Why? I can't stand, that's grifting, man. You can't say, oh, I can't believe AEW did that, when WWE rightfully does the same thing every single year. Of course they do. Let's not get into that. See, it gets me. Kind of claws away at you. But I never truly believed, and other people may have felt different, but I never truly believed that Jamie Hayter could win this. So instead it was all just about the work itself, and yeah, the work was just through the flipping roof. They clearly decided they were going to smash each other in the face as hard as they possibly could, and that finished by Mercedes Moné. We're never going to get it, I don't think. It was the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. But on the way down, she DDT'd, or pile-driven, whatever you want to say, Jamie's head right into the mat. If they did mean to do that, that is pure genius. Because I was like, of course she's going to win. And it took the surprise roll-up finish and gave it a proper new edge. Not Adam Copeland, he's not back yet. And if it was an error, as long as Jamie Hayter's okay, it's one of the best errors that's happened in a while because it looked like a death move, man. And the way that Mercedes Moné just sprinted off for some reason made me laugh. But, you know, there's more to this as well. I thought Mina Shirakawa versus Toni Storm was a great match, but it had zero jeopardy. That was the opposite. And that did kind of take away a little bit for me. We're talking minor stuff here. I have to put my critique hat on sometimes. And that was just a little bit of a, okay, yeah, I get this. But knowing that Toni Storm was going to win and that we're going to get Mercedes Moné, I think the key here ties into what we just said about Will Ospreay. We know he's going to be thrown into another storyline based on this, and we should do the same with Jamie Hayter because she was following a similar path. This means everything to me, what I do afterwards. It's like I have to start again. We should see that, and she's absolutely going to a feud with someone like a Megan Bain or maybe somebody else on the roster I'm not thinking of. You see what I mean, though? As long as she is still featured here, maybe we call Athena up and do something there. Anything like that would be awesome. But the match itself was just so good. And it was the same across the board. Like the FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Danny Garcia match. I mean, even if you want to look at it from a novel point of view, Nigel McGuinness back in the ring. But Hill FTR are awesome and they won there. So you have to figure they're going after the AEW tag titles soon, which they should do. And they absolutely will make you believe they can beat the Hurt Syndicate, which was also the issue with the Hurt Syndicate match. This was way more about the relationship between Bobby Lashley and MJF. But I like that because you need a variety show when you have a pay-per-view this long. They're still too long for me, but I understand that's my little bugbear. But because it was more about that, and more about the fact that they rejigged their presentation to include Maxwell Jacob Freeman, and then you saw him try to use the ring, and Bobby Lashley was like, no. He was kind of friendly with him at the end, and they still won relatively clean, with MJF being a little sort of bee that was buzzing around. But it was the same with the Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe match. It was a stretcher match, and AEW always delivers on their stipulations as advertised. Even though they had this crazy Anakin Arena match, it was still like, well, Mark Briscoe is going to bleed buckets because it's essentially a hardcore match. And yes, I have to talk about it here. I talked about it on Ups and Downs. At one point, Mark Briscoe grabbed Ricochet's bald head and he cleaned that thing. He washed it up dry. He had some Mr. Clean with him too, of course. He was a bald buff man as well. Just going to have to accept it these days. Do kind of feel like my gimmick's been ripped off a little bit. I've been calling myself bald both on YouTube and the ring for around about 8 years, but more for me for not capitalizing as much as possible. But that was good too. And the Ricochet essentially won by committing a crime. Just going to stab this man over and over again. I love Mark Briscoe, the babyface. I love Ricochet, the heel. I think of all the people that have jumped ship, he's got to be in the top 3. He has just taken this. I don't want to say he's completely revitalized his career because he's doing fine in WWE, but I really do feel like he's taking a step up. And then anything else on this show, the only thing I felt really sorry for, not that anybody needs my sympathy, was the Paragon versus the Don Callis family. It just couldn't have got, nothing could have gone there. Nothing, literally nothing. Even someone coming out and giving free money to people, fans be like, I'm tired, just leave me alone. Which is crazy because the 6 people in this are phenomenal professional wrestlers. I am going to go back and watch this match in a few days' time in isolation. I bet it's way better, especially because we are teasing Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT title. Let's ramp that right up the card, and I think that will really help that belt, which does need a bit of a kick up the ass. That match will be so damn good. Don't pretend that Adam Cole isn't brilliant because he is. Kyle Fletcher has shown what he can do over the last 12 months. He has totally turned himself into a proto-star. I guess would be the right term to use his terms. And I will admit, I didn't see the pre-show just because, again, I have to get into the pay-per-view to a certain degree, and I have to get this video done, and other videos done. So it's like, I always try and watch that stuff. But I did watch the TNA show as well. I'm going to try and do a video on that, but that was awesome. Trick Williams winning the championship there, really enjoyed that. And Mike Santana being there, super duper cool. And Obafemi winning is always the greatest thing ever, because Obafemi is the greatest person ever. But, you know, having all of these shows and all of them, including Saturday's main event, I said on my reviews, right, I thought Saturday's main event was sort of hit and miss in many ways, but it's still a good wrestling show compared to some of the garbage we got 25 years ago. And this is why, just to be that guy, I think it's so important that we have all of these promotions going on. I know that WWE and TNA are working together, hence why Trick won. But wrestling being of a standard and you being able to pick and choose as much as you want is just better for everybody. And I think Double or Nothing especially proved that. It doesn't feel anything like WWE anymore, at least not to me. Maybe I'm wrong in that assumption. But when I watch it, it feels like AEW, and WWE feels like WWE. I kind of said this when WWE joined Netflix. They went so crazy on the production and making them feel like the Disney of pro wrestling, that when AEW does feel a bit gritty and a little bit independent, which is, I don't mean disparagingly at all, I think that's a good thing. It just stands out a mile, and you get to do stuff like this. I've probably forgotten to talk about something, but I wanted to talk about those three matches mainly. And I think going back to the Paragon thing, I think we could have saved that for Dynamite. I think that would have been an awesome main event to sort of shine a light on that TNT title. But listen, that's such a minor criticism. So is the Tony Storm, Mira Shirakawa stuff. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter that Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara didn't really feel like a threat to the Hurt Syndicate, as long as other people are going to get involved. The Young Bucks can get them back in there. We talk about FTR. And there's a bunch of other teams that you could light a fire under, especially. I mean, Edge and Christian will be back together at one point, I would presume. So we wait and see for that too. But they did plant loads of seeds, which hopefully means they can see them through to their next pay-per-view, which is All In. Do they have anything before that? I don't think so. I know they got Fyter Fest soon, because there's going to be a tournament for Kenny Omega's championship. I didn't talk about Carter and Mike Bailey. What an absolute idiot I am. Brilliant, right? Mike Bailey has proven that he should have been in a major company years ago. And man, did he push a Carter's work button. That drop kick when he was going for the Ultimate Weapon or whatever it's called. And a Carter drop kicked him and then hit the Rainmaker for the win. Again, that's a finish, man. Because you go, of course Mike Bailey lost. Who's going to be able to kick out of that? It doesn't hurt him at all. Apologies for those guys for forgetting it. That was one of my favorite matches on the show. My brain synapses, whatever they're called, are firing on too high a level at the moment, whatever that means. Point is this. Great weekend for pro wrestling, and I feel lucky that I get to cover it in the way that I do. Really, there's not enough hours in the day, because I would make videos about all of this, but then YouTube will get mad at me because it doesn't like you spamming content, but I will do my best. Also want to point out as well, if you go to patreon.com/Simon316, talking of content, it's super cheap, $5 to get in. We're doing watch-alongs now. We have done King of the Ring 1998, Undertaker versus Mankind, but I want your suggestions. We're going to do at least once a week, so at least 4 a month, but I'll do more too, here and there, when I've got some time, because it's just old fun. But yeah, wrestling's in a great place. And there's so much good over the next 6 months. I'm going to enjoy it as much as possible. But you may have hated Double or Nothing, which is fine. I want to know in the comments, so make sure you drop one down there. When you are hanging out, make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Saturday's main event review is on the screen right now if you do want to get my thoughts on that. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. Their Memorial Day sale is live today, and you get loads of money off using my code Simon. Do this. They're good fitness supplements. Talked about the Patreon. Simon316 on all social media. Simon Miller for cheap TikToks. No, for cheap, what are they called? Cameos. That's what I'm thinking about. Personalized messages, which I enjoy doing. Simon J. Miller on TikTok for some of my wrestling stuff and football stuff. It's me performing in the ring if you do care. And then Pro Wrestling Tees and Big Cartel for merchandise. I've made way too many videos this weekend, so I'm going to sleep. I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you soon.